And so I just want to say good afternoon to everybody who is coming in on the webinar. This is our first installment of the Liberal Arts Alumni Mentor Program Fall Webinar Series. And today we're going to be hearing from Katie Wysocki, the Assistant Director of the Liberal Arts Career Enrichment Network. She'll be talking about the move to virtual career services this fall, across student interactions with employers, info sessions, fairs, and a lot more. So with that, I will let Katie take it away and introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to just turn my PowerPoint on real quick. Thank you all for being here. As Lauren said, I work in the Career Enrichment Network and love my role and love working with students and alumni as well. I recognize a couple of the names here, and we've had wonderful programs with many of you to support our professional development of our students, which we very much appreciate. As Lauren said, I'm here to kind of share some of our resources. So when you're working with your students, you can help to engage them into the many opportunities we have in the office. I also have a little bit of some of the information that's being shared with me. A large part of my role is employer engagement. So I have reached out to over 75 of our partners over the summer to see where they're at, to kind of get the climate and engage them into fall recruiting. So just to kick off, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do, but our office is focused on the career development of our students. We are one of the most diverse, I would say, career offices in the academic colleges here at Penn State, just because of what we're able to provide to the students. Anything from that general career coaching to the internship and job search, obviously connecting with all of you, global experiences, which we hope to get back on track in the near future. And then, of course, the programming that encourages professional development. Another piece of that is obviously the enrichment funds from the the gracious donations we get every year. We're giving out over $500,000 every year to support our students in those extracurricular activities such as internships and study abroad. Last year looked a little different. We saw quite a few canceled programs. We did see some pivot stories with virtual internships and the like, and we're trying to capture them in student stories. So if you happen to follow us on social media, you can see some of those successful pivots. Whoops. So in reaching out to those 75 plus employers, we asked a few questions, not only if I can engage them in the fall, but what they're looking for, what's changed. So this first, I guess, word cloud is just some of the skill sets that they're saying they're looking for more in the COVID environment. So I'm sure none of these are a surprise to you. But one of the biggest one is flexibility and adaptability, right? The world is very different. I'm here in my sunroom right now. I've been here since March, as Lauren's been working from home as well. So being able to pivot and increase your ability in the technical side, to have that organization and self-direction within this environment is very important. And they want that to be very clear in their professional documents. So Lauren, are we good? Okay.
Yes, we are good.
Okay, good. Just wanted to check in. I saw your face. So this is something I actually shared quite a bit of this presentation last night. I met with the Economics Association and saw over 40 of them in one Zoom meeting. So that's exciting to see that they're engaged and able to hear about these changing times. So the other thing I asked them was, what piece of advice would you give students as they're getting ready to navigate in this virtual recruiting world? And I won't read through all of these, but in the diversity of the employers we work with, we have 5,500 undergrads in the college and 50 plus different majors, including those BAs and BSs. So we really are trying to diversify our knowledge in different industries and also provide them with a variety of information. So you can kind of see that with the different employers we have here. So Bank of America shared with me that, there's plenty of information virtually and online for them to be researching the role as well as the organization, and getting that upper hand in the resume, cover letter, or even the interview. And we've always shared that, but I think that it's more evident as ever. The Lockheed Martin, this is the recruiter for them. She is an alumna of our college. She shared that, it's adapting for everyone right now. You need to stand out and be prepared to stand out in a virtual fair. You should prepare as you would if you went to the Bryce Jordan Center. And as much as we hate it, change is good, and we need to adapt to that. So just a couple little things to share with you. We work with some really great employers. It's always changing. One of the students asked me last night, are there less jobs? Are there less opportunities? And, in many industries there may be, but in others they may have increased. So I think that I can't tell you how many times I've said the word pivot or navigate in this world. But that's what's coming into effect right now, is opening your mind and being adaptable and broadening your cast with your net to be willing to try new things. So some of the current trends that Lauren had mentioned, for me to kind of share, these are things we're hearing throughout the summer and engaging with others. The idea, one of them is resumes. So many of our students had really wonderful experiences this summer, and unfortunately they were canceled. There is the opportunity to add that experience to their resume. Obviously there wouldn't be any bullet points because they didn't have the experience. But for now, they are able to share it and can put in that, due to COVID, it was canceled, so that they're at least being honored for the fact that they were offered the position. This is definitely temporary. This is a Band-Aid, if anything. And we really want them to find new solutions and find new experiences to replace it in the end. So that's something to consider for now. When it comes to interviewing, those recruiters are all sharing with me, they will guarantee that everyone will be asked how they pivoted during the COVID-19 pandemic. What happened, how you adapted to it, how you worked from home, how you did in your classes, how you had a virtual internship, because the world has changed and so much is now online, and so much is different than it was. How will you then adapt to their environment, to how they're working virtually? I don't think there's any room for feeling a victim or feeling like you missed out on a lot of opportunities. They're just truly looking for you to adapt and share those experiences. For many of our students in the entry-level interview world, they've moved to live or recorded interviews. So it's not too different, but I would say that a majority are all in this realm. So it's important for them to follow directions. It's important to practice, and we offer resources through the university to practice virtual interviews. Obviously, they can do mock interviews with anyone. They can do virtual mock interviews because all of our resources are online right now. So there are a lot of ways for them to practice that. And again, as the employers mentioned in the previous slide, that research is more and more effective in demonstrating their commitment to a future position with the company. As I mentioned before, with jobs and internships, there are available positions. So often we hear from students, nothing's there. And I think sometimes they want me to tell them that nothing is there. But the truth is it is there. It's just going to involve a little bit more search and dedication and networking. Prior to COVID, one of the best ways to find a job, as you all know, is networking. And sometimes for our current students, they're not as comfortable in that realm, but we have a variety of events to help them to practice that communication online and to kind of adapt, and we'll go into some of that. Obviously, I talked about casting a wider net. The other piece is, maybe it's not an internship, but maybe it's a volunteer experience, or maybe it's the student organizations on campus are still existing. Like I met with the Economics Association last night. they, like many, have made the decision to be all virtual. Many of their leaders and vice presidents and the president himself are still at home. So they are still continuing the good work of their organization, but through that virtual platform. Just like our office is doing the same, they are having a student organization fair, and I believe it's through the middle of this week. I think tomorrow is the last day, but students can still engage with many of those organizations to add on those leadership experiences to their resumes. So that's a good pivot as well. Networking, we're still encouraging our students, obviously, to have an alumni mentor. We're still encouraging our students to get connected on LinkedIn or to create a relationship with alumni through LinkedIn in preparation for an interview or connecting with a company. So we will continue to encourage that as well, even not being face-to-face. I'm not sure if this has been shared with you previously, but one of our resources that we created last April and May was a sites page that allowed students to focus primarily on their career during COVID. This was the support initially for our class of 2020. As we know, that looked very different for them. But we have continued to update and refocus this beyond them, and we'll share with our students. I'm just going to bring it up real quick. We tried to simplify it in the idea of, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a job or internship? Are you looking for ways to get closer to your career goals? Are you searching for graduate school tips and resources? And each one of these will take to additional resources to support that area. We also have ways that, what are you doing instead? So how do you stay professional? What are some resources within our office to do so? What are ways to connect with the job market? There's some valuable articles that have been written. If anyone's ever heard of vault.com, it's a great career resource. I get the daily emails from them, and they're doing a lot to provide ideas on, top tips for virtual interviewing, or, what the hiring market looks like, as well as NACE. NACE is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. This is our resource in higher education and career services. They are working internationally to gather information from both employers and colleges to kind of see what those trends are. So I would suggest checking that out as well for deeper detail. Obviously, want them to continue to learn. This was something we suggested this summer in the absence of an internship. They have access to LinkedIn Learning. This is the old lynda.com. It's now through LinkedIn, and Penn State has access to all of that. So they could be learning some new skills, or they might have that they know Microsoft Excel on their resume, but maybe we could find some depth to that. I know I need to do that as well. So staying connected, connecting with us, getting a resume review would be with our office. And then we're putting all of our recordings of our events here. A lot of these are from this summer. I've been a little overzealous for this fall, and we have a good 20+ events planned through to December. And we will make sure to get the recordings here, because we know not all students can attend at the time and we are offering it at. So you'll see some of the events we had with the great alumni that agreed to help us back in April and May. And for the first time ever, we did offer summer programming to kind of support the changing world through June. Here's just some inspiration, some other ideas for those that are still kind of seeking major career exploration, inspiration, motivational, some TEDx talks, and some ways to just stay motivated. And then obviously goals are very important, and the idea that we are only as successful as the goals we create. We want to instill that on our students as well. So that's that website. They are being shared, all these resources from the start. So in our office, as I've alluded to, and I'm sure you already know, everything that we offer will be virtual this fall. We've decided that that's you know, a better resource for our students, a safer resource for our students, and we really had great success with it over the summer. We've still been meeting with students. We've still been providing career coaching. As I mentioned, we've still had events, and we're going to continue that into the fall. As a university, Penn State has shared with all recruiters that all recruitment will be virtual on campus. That was a university-wide decision to provide equity for all students, those that were on campus and those that decided to stay home, that they would still have the same resources and benefits of all those recruiting events that we have on campus. So students will be able to continue to meet with us with career coaching. We will provide a variety of professional development events. We have a resume writing event next Tuesday with Al Q. We will have virtual networking opportunities. We are doing a Workforce of the Future event with Deloitte in technology and the workforce in October with Altria. Something new this year we have decided to do is to engage our employers in virtual office hours. So this is kind of a great way for students to practice. I even encourage those students that may not be interested in the company per se to take advantage of the professional development and sign up for a 30-minute appointment to review their resume, to discuss virtually, you know, what they're looking for, or to practice, you know, some common interview questions. These employers they're there to share their brand, but they're also there to support the students in their professional development. I am the positive one in the office. It gets hard during these days, but I think there's silver lining in all of this, and the idea that we've been able to engage more with certain alumni and employers that we may not have in the past by bringing them to campus. So I think we may be able to offer more opportunity this year by doing things virtually. And we all have to pivot. And I myself was always more of an in-person events kind of planner. So I have learned quickly, as all of you have, I'm sure, to use the technology and provide a different event to our students. So I keep using my mouse, and I should stop doing that to flip through the slides. So we have 2 program series that are very much supported by alumni. These are consistent. This will be my 6th year in this position within the Career Enrichment Network. And we started Lunch and Learns way back when. They're still held every Thursday, and we offered lunch to our students. We will continue that series, and obviously hope they bring their own lunch. But we will have a variety of topics. 3 of the 4 for this year are provided by alumni. Great resource, and we really appreciate their collaboration. The Career Conversation series it began in lieu of us going virtual in the spring by Howie Smith in the CRIM department. He invited both alumni and external partners to come and do, you know, informal conversations with our students on different career topics, from, you know, a judge to a state trooper to, you know, someone in behavioral analysis. So they had great success with those, and he's handed that off to us to continue into the fall, and we've worked with Alumni Relations and Development to invite some really great alumni to come back to do that. So if anybody's ever interested, we'll be working on a spring menu. Fall Career Days is obviously going to be virtual. We can't pack 10,000 students into the Bryce Jordan Center this year. I also serve on the planning committee for this, as we encourage our students to go to Fall Career Days. It will be using the Brazen platform. Students have already received an initial email from MiniLion Careers, from Central Career Services, on how to register. They'll need to register for every day. They'll need to do their research and prepare as they would going to the Bryce Jordan Center. Brazen itself is a new software to us. It's offered by a Penn State alumni who runs that organization. And we have tutorial videos that are provided for students to kind of understand it more clearly. And our office is also navigating new ways to share kind of some quick tips for them to make sure they're having a successful experience. This is new to us for sure, so we're hoping to provide the best resource with that. It will have the opportunity for a video chat. The recruiters and students are both telling us from their own experiences that these virtual career fairs are more effective if there is an option for that face-to-face experience and networking through a career fair.
Katie, real quick, we had a question that came in through the Q&A. So Catherine was wondering, are any or all of these resources also available to recent alumni? She's had several mentorship requests through LionLink and wants to make sure that she's giving them accurate information.
Absolutely. Fall Career Days, we are actually, the committee just met yesterday and our focus is on recent alumni. So please invite them to join us for Fall Career Days. My next slide is also for Alumni Career Services. This is the resource for alumni to take advantage of. They have, I believe they have free, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren, they have free access to Alumni Career Services their first year out. And then it is associated with the Alumni Association with fees there. So I'm getting a head nod, so I will go with that. But they are a great group of women over there that can provide additional resources. They do one-on-one, but they're also offering a lot of virtual workshops through their website. If they were to link onto that, they'll find resources specific to both recent and experienced alumni. Any other questions? As an office, Lauren works with the post-grad survey, so we can gather helpful placement data from our graduates. Obviously, as you can imagine, May 2020 did not have the highest response rate just because of the climate, I think. And we usually have an event on campus that increases the response rate. But Lauren has organized all of us to call our May 2020 grads. And we've had some really great conversations. I think none of those conversations have been focused around the senior survey, but offering just a gentle support and resources for them to know that we haven't abandoned them and that Penn State is always here to serve our alumni, and that we recognize their resources may have been a little different as the spring went virtual. So all of this information I've shared and the events we've talked about, MiniLion Careers is the one thing I would push for both students and alumni can access. MiniLion Careers is our simplicity software we are using across the entire university. You know, as of 4 years ago, we all had our own system and it was very confusing. But we are all in the same boat right now. So students can see every job and internship available to them. You know, our economics students used to be upset that they couldn't get into SMEAL's system and they wanted to see their jobs, but everybody can see everything right now. So encourage your students to use this resource. All of our events are posted in it. This is where they will schedule a career coaching appointment with, you know, Lauren, myself, or Susan in the office. They would need to either select us by name or by someone who has liberal arts after their name to make sure they're getting the Career Enrichment Network. There's career fair information in the system. There will be other career fairs beyond Fall Career Days offered throughout the year. There's also some helpful resources for those students that may be navigating more of the federal resume or federal job application. There's information on usajobs.gov. There's information on a federal resume. We've tried to take students to DC 2 years in a row now for a trek to understand and connect with alumni and understand the process a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, we couldn't go this spring, but we do have resources specifically from the Office of Personnel Management that we were able to share within there for them to use, because that obviously looks a little different. This is where all those jobs and internships are posted. Students can create job alerts so that they don't need to necessarily sign in every day, but they're at least reminded of when something relevant might come their way. So great resource. And that's what I have for now. Any questions from anyone?
We'll give people maybe a minute or two to type in any questions that they have. But I just want to reiterate a little bit about what Katie was saying. She has done a fabulous job preparing and planning these events with employers and alumni for this next semester. There are so many options, and it makes it a little bit more accessible for students because they're virtual. But she is very much gone above and beyond, and I feel like anybody in the audience with your mentees, please encourage them all to attend some of those. They can be found in MiniLion Careers, as Katie was saying, but I just want to give a shout out to her because she's just done a great job. So
thank you. I'm going to bring up just our September flyer for everyone to take a look at, just so don't ever let any of your mentees say there's nothing to do. So these are some of our upcoming events. We're doing welcome back career check-ins. Usually we do walk-ins in the office, but we'll be doing that virtually. So next week, Monday through Friday, we'll have 10 to 2, and they can check in with us for quick questions. And even if they don't know how to use the system, just have them check in with us. We will definitely walk them through it. So there's what we have going on. We're going to focus on an employer virtual panel on the 16th for the do's and don'ts of virtual networking fairs and interviews to prepare them for fall career days. Obviously, we're going to cultivate some more students for the mentor program as well. And Teach for America has been really awesome. They have a focus on DEI, on diversity, equity, inclusion, and we'll be doing a workshop with our students coming up. So trying to diversify the options, but offer a variety.
I'm not seeing any questions coming in. Thank you, Katie, for bringing that up. Oh, it looks like we have one from Paul that just came in. How do students identify alumni who might talk with them about careers, informational rather than a particular job interview? Do you have any programs encouraging students to reach out to specific individuals? So other than the Alumni Mentor Program, Katie, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about LionLink?
Absolutely.
Or anything else that you have, like with the alumni who are participating in some of these programs that you've put together?
Absolutely. I think LionLink would be probably the best solution to that. So while the Alumni Mentor Program offers that longevity in creating a longer term relationship as they develop through their years here, I would say that LionLink serves more like a Penn State LinkedIn. So the alumni that are registered there are there for those quick questions. You can find someone in industry, in a company, and students can connect to those one-off questions. We also encourage students to use LinkedIn. Obviously, I'm always telling them that you're reaching out to network, you're reaching out for advice, you're not reaching out for a job or an internship. So we want to make sure they're taking their part in the dance. But yes, I would say LionLink is that resource for all of our students to take advantage of. Obviously, all of the alumni I've had in the last 5 years to do presentations specifically on different topics, jobs, internships, or industries have always been willing to meet with students after through email or through phone or virtually. So those opportunities are always there. And Lauren does a great job of connecting students as best as she can with the alumni, with all of you, to make sure you have that same path. So I would say that.
Any other questions for Katie about programs, about the move to virtual for the fall with recruiting, career services, anything like that? All right, so it looks like we have one from Randy. Are there any liberal arts specific resources that students can utilize? I know the CAS department, for instance, has the CAS fan directory of alums that are willing to connect with students. Are there any others?
I think all departments are doing something very different. For example, the School of Labor Employment Relations, Kim Plummer is their career point person there. So she's doing a lot of what we do specifically for LER. I think that, you know, all departments with the support of Alumni Relations have been moving to have more alumni focused career events, and we've been brought into several of them. The criminology and sociology area is also doing an expo with the focus on federal nonprofit type agencies that they open up to the whole, they actually opened up to the whole university last year. So slowly but surely, every area is kind of adapting to their students' needs and providing some career resources. I would check in with the departments themselves to look into those. When we know, and we do collaborate specifically with LER and CrimSoc, and political science is planning their alumni career events right now for September. So we do have some engagement with all the planning and the marketing for those events. History is having an alumni panel in October that we will support. So yeah, there are some resources, and we've definitely seen an increase in that area and appreciate that partnership. You know, one of the things we learn about this generation is that they are interested in what's most relevant to them, and we try and be as specific as possible. Our marketing has changed to that, to be more major specific. You know, we still struggle. I still have a psych student that doesn't even realize they're in the College of Liberal Arts. They think they're just a psych student. So there's still some education going on you know, what their resources are at a college level, at a university level, and then down to their department. So we're hoping to open that line of communication and make that clear. There are so many resources at this university, though, that I know they get overwhelmed, and I think that we're doing a great job of adding them virtually to the point of, you know, quantity versus quality. There's just a lot going on right now. So we do our best to streamline it and make it most relevant.
Great questions, everyone. Thank you so much. Any other last questions for Katie before we conclude? And for those of you who don't know, I know I put this in the Q&A, but I'll be sharing the PowerPoint, and I'll be sharing the recording with everybody. I'll also send out Katie's September flyer that she has, just so you are all aware of what's going on for at least this month. We had so many programs that she planned that we had to separate it by months instead of just including it on one flyer. So there will be an October and November flyer as well. Right. So any lasting questions?
I think I would just share really quick too. You know, Fall Career Days is virtual. It can be overwhelming, but we are seeing a lot of employers doing individual information sessions. So to encourage your students to log into MiniLion Careers, under events, there's two sections: information sessions and workshops. Workshops are professional development events. Information sessions are those employer engaged events. Employers, you know, I think you almost get bonus points if you attend some of those events, because you're logging in when you get there. Sometimes you have the opportunity to share your resume. Recruiting season truly feels like it happens in September and then it's over. And I'm always, I think Lauren and Susan and I always meet with students in October and November, and like something just happened in September and I really missed the boat on it. But it's encouraging our liberal arts students to realize that a lot of their industries are just in time hiring, and that you didn't miss anything, that maybe, you know, you still have time to find that. But I would say that there's a lot going on in September, that it can be overwhelming, but they just really need to streamline what's most valuable to them.
I feel like we're going to blink and it's going to be September 30th because that's how
Absolutely.
fast it goes.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. All right, so if there's no other questions that are coming in, I want to thank Katie. Thank you so much for taking your lunchtime and talking with us about this today. I've gotten a lot of great responses in the chats of just how valuable all of the programs that you've put together are, and your overview. So like I said, I'll be sending out the PowerPoint and the presentation this afternoon to everybody who's attended. The next installment of our fall webinar series will be focused on intentional communications, and that's going to be on September 30th with a lecturer in communication arts and sciences in their department, Vanessa McLaughlin. So be on the lookout for a Zoom invitation from me. I know that I've been sending you all a lot of emails, but I appreciate anytime anybody responds. So, but with that, I'll stop our recording. And again, just thank you all so much for your attention.